Many of us feel that the pharma companies and the life sciences companies are basically the same, but actually they are not. If we talk about the pharma companies are those which produces the medicines which are required for addressing different types of ailments from which we suffer time to time. And on the other hand, the life sciences is something which deals with the ingredients that are provided to those pharma companies for the manufacturing of those medicines. And what is very important to note is that when a new medicine comes in the market, they are called the branded medicines. And these branded medicines are actually produced by different pharma giants. And when the same type of formulation is being used for the production of some other medicines beyond this particular branded medicine, those medicines are referred as the generic medicines. Generic medicines are something which we have already heard from many of our doctors in today's time. And on the other hand, when this same formulation is being used with some other bio ingredients, with amalgamation of some other bio ingredients, these formulations actually go on to produce some API, that is active pharma ingredients. And these active pharma ingredients are basically the components which are required for the manufacturing of different types of medicines that we use in day-to-day life. For example, if we do lot of us actually take painkillers, but we are not that much familiar that these painkillers actually are made up of one particular chemical compound which addresses the sensations of pain that arise in our body, right? So these compounds are being produced by those APIs, by those companies which manufacture the APIs. You must be wondering why I'm today talking about these pharma companies and those life sciences companies, right? The reason is that in today's market, suddenly a IPO has created a lot of buzz. Come to my channel for the first time, do consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to press the notification bell, because I'm going to produce similar videos like this, and the videos on your personal finance, and the videos how you can invest in different asset classes across your age, gender and country. So do consider subscribing to my channel, and if you like the content of this video, do subscribe to my channel, as well as like this video, and to the discussions of this IPO, Gleanmark Life Sciences. Gleanmark Life Sciences is in the business of making high quality drugs by unlocking the possibility of the science. Over the years, they have established strong relationships with leading global generic pharmaceutical companies that have helped them expand their product offerings and geographical reach. So what is very interesting to reinforce over here is the fact that Gleanmark Life Sciences has established relationships with different global giants, with different global pharma giants, and they work with 16 out of 20 largest generic companies globally, right? So out of 20 generic companies that exist globally, they have a cooperation with almost 16 of them. So that becomes almost 80% of those generic companies of of world's topmost generic companies have relationship with this particular company called Gleanmark Life Sciences, right? And they have a portfolio of around 120 APIs, and key therapy areas that they cater to are very, very prominent in today's time. Number one is cardiovascular disease. They produce APIs for manufacturing medicines regarding cardiovascular disease, and they have APIs for central nervous system disorder, that is otherwise known as CNS. They do create APIs for diabetes, which has almost become a household name in today's time, especially in our country, right? So we have, they have been making medicines, or they have been making ingredients for, gastrointestinal health, and oncology has another major area which they cater to. Pain management is something which also, finds a major prominence in their product portfolio. And they have also anti-infectives, right? So they have a track record. Of supplying high quality active pharma ingredients to different pharmaceutical companies all over the world, and successfully they have partnered with the customers in a highly competitive market. Remember, this is a market which has got a lot of competition in itself, and apart from that, it has got different types of regulatory infringement as well. In today's time, since the outbreak of this COVID, FDA, US FDA has become much more lenient. Otherwise, we have seen that they have been very, very stringent and strict over different pharmaceutical companies regarding minor specifications, right? So, US FDA has recently changed their mood, changed their attitude, and that has actually worked as a wonder for them. And these companies are under the supervision, under the direct monitoring and supervision of US FDA, because they have partnership, they have tie up with different other pharmaceutical companies that operate in other countries as well. And this company is actually incorporated in 2011. So the company has now 4 different manufacturing facilities in the country, which are located. Two of these manufacturing units are located in Gujarat, and the rest of the 2 are situated in Maharashtra. Right. Internationally, the company has active clients over as I have already noted, that it has active clients over 540 companies, and these clients are spread across Europe, Latin America, North America, Japan, etc. Right. So the situation is much more favorable, because the background of the company and the strong balance sheet that they have in today's time is something which actually speaks for their credentials. And now, from the investor's perspective, what we can see is that they have come up with an IPO, and the size of the IPO is 1,514 crore, and they'll be issuing a fresh IPO of around 1,060 crore, and it also comprises an offer for sale as well, and this will be of 453 crore, and with a face value of 2 rupees equity share, right? Per equity share will have a face value of rupees 2, and this OFS has an allocation of 63,000 shares, right? So that is very, very interesting scenario. And what is all the more important for us as an investor is the fact that this IPO is trading at a premium valuation in the gray market. It's trading at a premium of around 200 rupees in the gray market in today's valuation, in today's time. So this IPO is likely to open for bidding on July 27th, and it will close on July 29th. The price band is from 695 to 720. This is a price band per equity share, and the company is planning to generating around 1,500 crore at a lower end of this price band, which is 695 crore. On the higher end, the price on the higher end of this price band, that is 720 per equity share, the company plans to raise around 1,513 crore, right? So Gleanmark is definitely a noted brand in pharma industry, right? And it is actually an offspring from Gleanmark Pharma itself, right? So companies' financials look very solid in today's time, right? So in the financial year 2020, they had a profit margin of around 313 crore with a revenue of 1,537 crore. And in 2021, and in the financial year 2021, Gleanmark Life Sciences has reported a profit of around 351 crore with a revenue of around 1,885 crore, right? So this marks an upward trends in profit as well as revenue with the last, if we compare it from the compare it to the last year's financial results. And now, let us come to the discussion of our portion, that is whether an investor should actually be subscribing to this IPO. And what is very interesting to note is that after the listing, this company will join the likes of Davies Laboratories, Larousse Lab, Shilpa Medicare, Aarti Drugs, Solara Active Pharma. These are all well-known brands in our Indian equity market, right? And if we talk about the competitors' valuation, Davies Lab actually trades at a valuation of around 64.52. Davies Lab is trading at a PE valuation of 64.52. Larousse Lab is trading at a valuation of PE valuation of 35.51. Shilpa Medicare is trading at a valuation of 34.51. Aarti Drugs is trading at a valuation of 23.86. And Solara Active Pharma is trading at a valuation of 26.35. And what is very interesting to note is that Gleanmark Life Sciences, if we take into consideration the kind of profit that they have and the kind of price band that has been fixed for this IPO, it will be trading at a valuation of 50.20. So 65 will be the most premium valuation that has been given to Davies Lab. Undoubtedly, it is the best company of this space, and then it will be followed by this newly launched IPO, Gleanmark Life Sciences. So from the valuations perspective, it looks a bit pricey, it looks a bit expensive. Even though there are tremendous potentials in this company, and mostly the areas of API is something which will cater to the requirements of the pharma industries even for many more years. But from the valuation perspective in today's time, I personally feel that it looks hugely expensive. It looks hugely expensive. It is expensive than Larousse Lab, Shilpa Medicare, Aarti Drugs. And these are some of the names, these are some of the brands which have already provided us a great return in the last few months, right? So it's trading at a premium valuation of 50. Trading at a premium valuation of 50 is not that easy. Davies Lab belongs to a different category out of this entire range. Davies Lab is something, it's a brand, it is actually a Nifty 50 company. So it is trading at a valuation of 65, and it has an income which is much more than the rest of these companies, right? So Davies Lab has a revenue of around 7,031 crore. Right, and this, on the other hand, this company, Gleanmark Pharma Gleanmark Life Sciences has a revenue of around 1,885. Right, so even from the revenue front, it is much more lower than the Davies Lab, but from the valuation front, it's getting closer with Davies Lab, because Davies Lab is trading at a valuation of 65 and it's trading at a valuation of 50. So this is very, very interesting, scenario. But on the other hand, I would like you to note another important statistics regarding this, which many of us have probably missed out, and this is the most important one, I would say, if we take into consideration the future prospects of this IPO. Davies Lab, if we take the example of Davies Lab has provided us a return of around 400 times in the last 9 years. So if you have invested rupees 1 in Davies Lab 9 years back, it would have resulted you in 400 rupees, right? So rupees 10 would have resulted in 4,000 rupees in Davies Lab. So Davies Lab has given a astounding return of 400 times in last 9 years. For example, Larousse Lab, which is a new entrant in this sector, has provided us a return of around 5 times in the last 5 years. Shilpa Medicare has a multi-bagger return of around 6 times in the last 10 years, and Aarti Drugs has provided us an astounding return of 70 times in the last 18 years, right? So Solara Active Pharma has given us a return of around 8 times in the last 3 years. So the least minimum return that has been provided from one single company of this particular sector is being done by Larousse Lab, and that's a 5 times return in the last 5 years, right? So, but that is from this particular statistics, you can very easily understand the kind of growth potential, the kind of the return potential that this company may have in future, right? So from the futuristic perspective, it is a very good investment opportunity. It is definitely a very good investment opportunity, but at the present valuation, the valuation looks a bit pricey and expensive one. Even though it's trading at a premium in the grey market of around 200 to 300 rupees, it's trading at a premium of around 2 to 300 rupees. So there is a high likelihood that it will list with a gain of around 30 to 40%. It will list with a gain around 35 to 40%, to be very much precise. Apart from that listing gain, the listing gain would actually make it much more expensive than what the IPO price actually is. So what is very interesting to note is that I would just like all of you, my personal advice would be to apply for the IPO. If you get it, then definitely book your profits on the listing with the listing gains that you have, and then do wait for a significant correction. And then don't forget to re-enter into this script when you have an opportunity, because Davis Lab has given you a return of around 400 times in the last 9 years, and the next best return that comes to this sector is being done by Aarti Drugs, which is not that great name as compared to Gleanmark Life Sciences. That is not that great name. Aarti Drug has given you a return of around 70 times in the last 18 years. So you can very easily understand that this Gleanmark Life Sciences is likely to give a stiff competition to Davis Lab. Actually, it will be the second, I presume that it will be the second best name in the sector. So it will be the second important name in the sector. So it will come just immediately after Davis Lab, so from a long-term perspective, you will have a great opportunity in investing in this company. So do invest in the IPO. But even though the IPO looks a bit pricey, but do invest in the IPO. Fortunately, if you get the IPO, then you will be probably having a gain of around 30 to 40%, and then just immediately book that listing gain and wait for a significant correction to re-enter at a lower price once again. And don't forget to re-enter at a lower price, because in just 5 years time we will probably see this company, we will probably see the price of this share moving up to around 4,000, as we are seeing with the case of Davis Lab. Davis Lab used to trade at 700 just 3-4 years back, right? So we will be finding this company at a price of around 4,000 in 5 to 6 years time, right? So from the futuristic perspective, this will be a very good chance of investment, and your 14,400 investment that is actually required for your one lot in IPO. This 14,400 investment can actually turn into 1 lakh in just 5 years. So there is a huge opportunity for you. If you are judicious enough to wait for a significant correction, then you can definitely turn your 14,400 rupees into 1 lakh, and if you entered this company at a right valuation at a right time. So from the futuristic point of view, this is a very good opportunity. And but from the short term point of view, the valuation is extremely expensive. So I personally would not be applying for this IPO. And even though I know that there will be a listing gain of around 35 to 40%, but I won't apply for this IPO because the valuation is not that great for me. Right, so I'll wait rather for a significant correction, and I will definitely enter into this company because in my personal holdings I do have a Davis Lab. So I would love to have a name like Gleanmark Life Sciences in my portfolio. So don't initiate any trade on the basis of my discussion. This discussion is only for the purpose of study, and do consult your financial advisor for taking any financial decision, right? And happy investing. That's all. Goodbye.